Hey everybody, we got another short video for you today because we received a few questions about the strings we use. I know most people probably understand what these are used for, but there are still people that are just starting out or they're just kind of confused by them. So why do you need drop tuning strings? The short answer is tension. Essentially, the heavier the gauge or the thicker the string is, the more tension it'll take to tune it to a particular note. So depending on the scale length of a guitar, most guitars will come with 9 or 10 gauge strings and be tuned to E standard, so E, A, D, G, B, and E. Now without going into too much detail on scale length for this video, I'll cover the basics. All of our guitars are 24 3/4 inch scale, which is generally referred to as the Gibson scale, and it's slightly shorter than a Fender scale of 25.5 inch. Because of that slightly shorter scale, 9 and 10 gauge strings will feel slightly looser on our guitar or a Gibson than they would on a Fender. Why does this matter? Because we're going to drop tune a standard scale guitar without having to buy a baritone or an extended scale or a 7 or 8 string guitar. Now I'm joking. Please don't hate me or talk about my lip ring in the comments. Make sense? If not, don't worry about it too much. It will when we start talking about drop tuning and showing some examples. Say for instance, our guitar has 10 to 46 gauge strings on it, which is fairly standard. When that guitar is tuned to E standard, it has the proper tension and it feels the way that you would expect. But what happens when you want to play drop D, or maybe even D standard, or maybe even C standard? The strings will become looser and looser, and that's where drop tuning strings come into play. We'll use an LTD M series guitar that we got for an upcoming music video that's still completely stock and has factory strings on it. Let's check out the string tension and movement in E standard with the 10 to 46 gauge strings. As you can see, the strings move a hell of a lot more than you'd think. This movement is fairly normal for E standard tuning with 10 to 46 gauge strings, but let's see what happens when we drop it all the way down to C standard. Now there's obviously even more movement and you start feeling the rubber band effect, but it's still somewhat manageable. One of our old bands used to play in E flat and in C standard, but with Dawn of Existence, after a couple of confusing days of tuning, we play in baritone tuning, which is actually B, E, A, D, F sharp, and B. With 10 to 46s, tuning to B definitely gives you the rubber band feeling, and can also become kind of a problem finding the string on rebound if you're not used to it. Because the strings are so loose, you'll also get a lot of string and fret noise. Now there's a lot of different string manufacturers that are making drop tuning strings, but after trying a few of them, we decided to stick with DR strings and use their DDT or drop down tuning strings, and we use the 10 to 60s and the 12 to 60s. Now if you notice the individual gauges on the strings, we've essentially just added another string on our low string and then pushed everything up to achieve this. Now we are currently not endorsed by DR strings. We just really like the way they feel, the way they play, the way they stay in tune, and the longevity of their strings. Now keep in mind, you will have to make some adjustments for your intonation and your action because of the larger strings. Now with the DR strings, DDT 12 to 60s tuned to B, the strings remain tight and you no longer have the rubber banding effect. So if you're interested or already wanting to drop the tuning on your standard scale guitar, I highly recommend getting drop tuning guitar strings to keep the tension feeling like a standard guitar. Links for more resources and where you can pick these up will be in the description below. And finally, today's metal suggestion comes from our melodic death metal friends in Texas, Hinayana, and their brand new EP, Death of the Cosmic. Be sure to hit that like button, always comment, share it with a friend, and be sure to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, we're out of here.